Hey guys, I'm Bulmaro and welcome to Bless or Mess, where I give you the tea on the latest and past films, shows, and video games. You may be asking, what is Bless or Mess? Simple. I will spill the tea on a film, show, or video game before letting you, the viewer, know if I will bestow it with a bless or mess. In other words, HUD had room in the budget and needed a star. Well, shall we begin? Let us go back to a simpler time in 1996 when Nintendo had just released the Nintendo 64 in Japan, when the Spice Girls released Wannabe and took over the music world in a time pre-Britney and Christina, when Roland Emmerich actually released a good film, Independence Day, when Bill Clinton was President of the United States, and when the late Wes Craven revived a dead genre desperate for a comeback. Yes, before people were paying to see The Conjuring, Insidious, or Paranormal Activity, people were lining up to see the surprise hit, Scream. The 1970s had horror icons Leatherface in 1974 and Michael Myers in 1978, while the 1980s had Jason Voorhees in 1980 and Freddy Krueger in 1984 joined them, leaving the 1990s only one person to join them after, Ghostface. So what made Scream so amazing and successful? Let's dive right in. Ghostface is effectively scary because not only do you not know who the killer is, but Ghostface knows you, toys with you. Anyone can be behind the mask and going after you with a knife for some sick and twisted reason. And the 1996 slasher encapsulates this perfectly. The film plays with the expectations of the viewer by not only deconstructing the genre, but by also mocking it. Kevin Williamson, the writer, meticulously throws red herrings at the audience in the hope of tricking them. By doing so, the film keeps us engaged in wondering who is the masked killer and wondering if our favorites are ever going to survive. Frankly, our favorite characters rarely ever do. But what Scream does in terms of narrative makes it wholly unique. The blend of horror and humor works so well, you find yourself laughing as the killer taunts the characters before resorting to fear or worry as they fight for their lives. You know what else makes Scream unique? The characters know Hollywood, they know movies, they know pop culture. The use of meta and self-references while remaining in the realm of horror just makes for a fascinating movie. However, the biggest takeaway from this film is how iconic and mesmerizing these characters are. This is in thanks to Williamson and the actors who elevate them and make them as real as ever. Who would have ever thought Courtney Cox would play such a selfish news reporter so well? She is one of the film's biggest assets who just owns every scene she's in, and you just learn to love hating her. And who would have ever thought Neve Campbell could be such a badass? She beautifully balances someone who's trying to cope with their mother's murder and the final girl so well. Each of them possesses something we love, which only keeps our eyes glued to the screen. The chemistry of the cast is absolutely magnetic and makes every scene work so well. With great moments like the banter between the cast like Dewey and Tatum, the film's siblings, played by David Arquette and Rose McGowan, there's always a funny line of quote. Moving forward, the opening scene alone is iconic, so much so it has been immortalized in film history. The movie opens with Drew Barrymore on the phone with some unknown person waiting for her boyfriend to arrive, so they can spend a night while watching some scary movies munching on some Jiffy Pop. You think you're being introduced to the final girl until Williamson does the unthinkable. Spoiler alert. He tricks you into thinking she's the protagonist only to kill Drew Barrymore off after the first 15 minutes. Iconic. Before you know it, the opening scene closes with a piercing and resonating scream from the victim's mother, before the title card pops up and introduces you to the real protagonist of the film, Sydney. And just like that, you get sucked in and can't help but want to see the whole film through. When you do, you cannot help but feel almost empty at the end. Scream has an impact on you. The film is definitely not like any typical run-of-the-mill slasher or even like any of the classics. This film is truly a unique experience in the genre, and all you're ever really left wondering is, how does Sydney move on? How do they all move on? How do you move on? Sounds like just the perfect film to see during the Christmas holiday season, right? With such a refreshing film, Scream took off and became a masterpiece for Wes Craven and the genre. The film catapulted the cast into stardom and spawned a legion of fans, 3 sequels, and eventually a TV show on MTV. Pretty darn successful, huh? Or as I say, slay a bit. So without further ado, I give Scream one heck of a bless. Until next time, I'm Bulmaro, and this has been Bless or Mess. Bye!